dreams and to cling on to the dream and to make things happen. And this morbidity also shifted, and it gave way after listening to Minister Debbie Schaffer delivering a speech in terms of telling a good story. And I think this is what we need, a success story. Not only for the DA, but for the Western Cape and for South Africa. It's a broader narrative. It's a narrative that will take us forward in our quest for nation building, for reconciliation, for restoration, and for healing of this country. And I think, to a certain extent, if we look at the pathologies that we are confronted with in our society, at the basis of it all, in terms of the solution, is underpinned by education. That's where it starts. We are sometimes overwhelmed by crime, unemployment, crime and vice, and violence, politics also to a great extent, but we take it with or without sugar. But I think what is important is that, according to Minister Debbie Schaffer, in terms of the message of hope that she instilled in us in navigating, not only talking about the successes, but also eliciting the challenges. I think that is important. But not bemoaning the challenges and the problems, but navigating and always searching for solutions. And I think the solutions is a cooperative thing, my dear colleagues. It's not only for one person or one sector like the education sector to seek the solutions and to come up with solutions, but for all of us to take hands irrespective of. Another point that I want to make is that when it comes to education, because it's such a universal, Minister Debbie Schaffer actually elicited also the ethos and the spirit that education espouses. And I think we should be very mindful of the fact that education is there for all of us. It's for the taking. Our kids are in these schools, our learners, our educators, our governing bodies, we are all intertwined. Whether we are politicians, whether we are MPPs, whether we are parliamentary officials, whether we are citizens, we are all connected to education because it's not a distinct entity. It's a lifelong learning. It's about gaining not only knowledge, but also wisdom. And getting and developing a worldview, a world perspective that can take us forward. So when it comes to education, there's actually no contestation. It's a matter of, I would go so far as to say it is actually cast in stone, that it has to be, even this budget has to be accepted by all. Yes. Because if the opposite happens, then we are running against the tide. Geachte achtbare adjunct speaker, my gevoel is ook verder dat die hele idee van vryheid, geregtigheid en geleenthede, freedom, fairness and opportunity, comes in the equation. It comes into the equation because, to my mind, the greatest contribution that any government can make in a country is to give access to all citizens. to give opportunities for education, not as a privilege, but as a right. In order to create those freedoms, liberties, and also a fair society. Where freedom has to do with, what is the meaning of a democracy or the relevance of a democracy without freedom, fairness, and opportunity? It's a hollow shell. It means nothing. We look at what happened in Brazil, became free. We go and read what Paulo Freire had to say about education for critical consciousness. If we develop that critical consciousness, we become free. The same with Ivan Illich in Chile, the same issue happened. When people were in bondage, and with his book, The Deschooling of Society, when we want to liberate ourselves, let's educate ourselves. And nearer to home in 1964, when Guinea-Bissau was right on the brink of collapse because of illiteracy problems, then they started with these ABET projects and programs. And within 10 years, about 80% of the population has been literate and educated. And the rest is history. So liberation comes with education, and then also the freedoms. The fairness touches and hinges on, and it has all to do with education, with human rights. How we respect each other, the privacy of others, die liggaamlike, die lyflike, die besitlike en die eiendomlike van ander mense, in terme van die transgressie en die skending van ander se vryheid wat eintlik grens aan sondigheid. En as dit gebeur, dan is ons weg van die kultuur van menseregte. And the Bill of Rights and the Constitution, I think that's one of the basic tenets, guarantee that. And I think we are moving, we can move. I think we have the will in this country. I think we have the guts also, and the fiber, any vuma, to create this culture of human rights. Let me also say that the Western Cape has demonstrated this qualitative inclination in terms of approaching education, not only in terms of quantifiable issues or infrastructure or resourcing or whatever, but qualitative issues. By building on this ethos of excellence, of positive outcomes, of expansion. We've just heard about the wonderful accolades that many of our guests achieved and received. We are extremely proud of you. And it is there for anyone. If we just put our mind to it, that we can also achieve. The sky is the limit. En daarom is ek bly dat leerders van meet af aan begin, sodra die handboeke afgelewer is, sodra die leermateriaal afgelewer is en al die bronne, fisiese bronne, materiële bronne, menslike hulpbronne in plek is om onmiddellik te begin leer en te studeer sonder ophou eintlik. Want aan die einde van die dag sal dit terugkerend wees. Daar is kruispollinasie tussen die wil van die mens om te leer en dan ook die uitsette in terme van die uitkomste, hoe jy dan vergoed sou word daarvoor. En dit is gewaarborg. Honorable Deputy Speaker, I welcome the department's targeting of relief to poorer schools funding 216 additional no-fee schools. Now, talking about a humanitarian act, this is really a humanitarian, being pro-poor, caring for the poor, and also to latch on to what Honourable Member Jantjie said earlier, the Cocteau's 5 pillars, Batopele, you said people first. And this is exactly what's happening in education. People first. People first. The learners first. Whoa. Thank you for that also then. Yeah. Baie dankie. The transportation of over 55,000 learners and 44 million in compensation for free exemption of poorer learners. And I think at this juncture we should also kill off this notion and a misperception that we are not rural friendly. No, we are. Ek self is 'n plaas Japie. Hoe kan ek nie rural friendly wees nie? Ek is dan self 'n plaas Japie. Ek is van die Sitikama, witte kleibos, my wêreld, by Storms rivier. Ja, is die mooiste plek hoor. Wonderlik. The Western Cape government's commitment to the feeding scheme is of extra importance this year, where the province is facing rapid food price increases because of the drought. And I think people, if we have to pray, let's pray that this drought will also subside. It's a serious matter, and I think it affects us all. The budget includes several key interventions to further improve the department's performance. Number one, the monitoring program will ensure that textbooks are delivered on time and that the school improvement plans will be followed. And these school improvement plans has a lot to do with not only structural improvement, but it's looking at underperforming schools. It's about giving mentoring. Mentor, does the name sound familiar? Mentor? Oh, I'm just teasing. I also sometimes need a mentor. Order. No, that's good. The e-learning game changer launch in 2015 will make access to high-speed internet, giving poor learners the same opportunities as others and prepare them for the future. And I think this is important. Therefore, we welcome those learners who come from other provinces also seeking greener pastures. You know, and better opportunities, learning opportunities, and we'll give it to them. We are prepared to share our knowledge and our methodologies and our competencies and skills with Mpumalanga, with Northwest, with Eastern Cape especially. You're right. Thank you.
Order.
We welcome them.
Order.
Another important...
Order. I'm going to give it just 1 second.
I'm sorry.
Honourable Mackenzie.
Is the member willing to take a question?
Member is prepared.
Yes. Can the member please tell us why would learners be seeking greener pastures in the Western Cape? What's happening in those provinces?
Honourable Jantjie, allow the member to answer the question.
Yes. I think it has a lot to do with, there's a lot of factors in play. It's wastage, dit gaan oor die verkwisting van geld, dit gaan oor onderprestasie, dit gaan oor onopgeleide leerkragte, dit gaan oor leerders wat nie die wil het om te leer nie. Ag, dit is infrastrukturele maar ook kwalitatiewe aspekte. Maar you know what's happening, what is so tough for my heart actually, for my new heart. Now I have a second-hand heart again. There is a song, Second-Hand Heart. Ben Reina, I think, is a singer. What touches my heart deeply now is the fact that I have to say Eastern Cape is taking a dip. but I'm from the Eastern Cape. But you know, or the wise men come from the East, eh, or what? Well, I'll stick here. I found my home here. To improve results in underperforming schools, it is important with new innovations that can be tested and expanded if successful. I therefore welcome the Collaboration School pilot program, giving public schools a chance to improve through partnership. And I think this is exactly where the exchange of ideas and the buy-in of the private sector comes in. That is important, and now we can use that as a driver and as a catalytic factor. En ek dink dit is die dryfveer agter die hele proses. Education is one of the most important means by which we can relieve the plight of our children. Listen, all our children, irrespective of race, creed, class, faith, culture. All. It is only, and this is a South Africa that I dream of, and this is a South Africa that will come to realization. It will come. It is only through improved educational outcomes that freedom, fairness, and opportunity can offer the foundations on which our children can build to realize their dreams. This education budget shows that the Western Cape government is committed to redress the past and give opportunities for everyone to create a fair society. In conclusion, agbare adjunct speaker, ten slotte wil ek dan van die geleentheid gebruik maak ook om aan minister Debbie Schäfer baie dankie te sê vir haar leiding, haar toewyding, haar innoverende ingesteldheid en dat sy altyd skepend en kreatief te werke gaan om 'n nuwe onderwysbestel, 'n verbeterde onderwysbestel daar te stel vir ons almal en baie dankie vir die voorbeeld in die verband. Aan die SG Penny Wennepold, baie dankie u en die span, 'n uiters bekwame span. Ek ken die meeste van hulle, amper almal van hulle, en ek weet in onderwys is in goeie hande, in uiters goeie hande. My staande komitee op onderwys, Theo Olivier, Cameron en Dagmar, en Memme Lorraine Botha, Ricardo McKenzie, my alternates, Chief of Mark Wiley, Member Merel Wenger, and Dylan Mitchell. Member Dylan Mitchell, thank you very, very much for the support which you rendered to me during in tough times. Sometimes we laugh, sometimes we cry, sometimes we shout at each other.
Order. Member, just 1 second. Honourable Mackenzie.
The member want to take a question.
I'll take a question.
Chair. Member, you mentioned mentoring, and I keep obviously mentoring of kids you're talking about. But do you honestly, does a member know Fakey mentor?
I know I'm very fond of fig jam. Fakey, is it fire jam? I'm not sure.
Agbaar lid, hou by die onderwerp.
Let me also thank the, I must mention this, in terms of oversight. In terms of oversight, Standing Committee on Education, thanks for the diligence, the dedication, sometimes extremely critical also, but we have to be. But thank you for the spirit in which we can conduct ourselves. And I forgot, Honourable Felon Christians, thank you so much. I'm sorry for that. You need special mentioning then. Thank you so much. All sectors of the, I mentioned Honourable Olivier, all sectors in the education, Thank you very much for the hard work that you are doing, sometimes behind doors, that out of the public eye. And all the learners, the parents, educators, for sterling work, our directors, circuit managers, subject advisors, all officials, the SGBs, governing bodies, caretakers, and also I end with these words. I know deep down in my new heart that the crucial problem of school safety will be addressed. We are moving in the right direction in terms of addressing this specific issue as well. Baie dankie, agbare speaker, vir die geleentheid. Thank you very much. And I support.
Order. The Honourable Olivier.
Comrade Rich.
Order. You may start, Honourable Olivier.
Young Deputy, Young Speaker, Leader van die Huis, gasten wat hier is, die departementsambtenaren. Dankie vir die geleentheid. Deputy Speaker, I must start with a quote from two leaders which this country has ever produced. Nelson Mandela once said, I quote, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world." Oliver Reginald Tambo, his best friend, also once said, "The children of any nation are its future. A country, a movement, a person that does not value its youth children does not deserve its future." Sekela somlomo ndiqala ngezikoti ngesizathu. Isizathu somlomo into yokuba lamaqhawe ayilwela indima yento yokuba abantwana beli lizwe mababe kwinkululeko ngokwemfundo. Siyayibulela loo nto leyo. Ndifuna somlomo nowubulela ngongazenzisiyo kwi-officials zale department. We must congratulate the officials for the hard work they put in on a daily basis. We must also congratulate the learners that goes out in difficult conditions, in crime-ridden areas, go out every morning and go to school and perform better with the support of their teachers as well as the department. So we cannot be naive not to recognize that fact. Somlomo ke mna ngomntu, I like normally to have a conversation rather than to make a speech, because it makes to me better sense than to read my own speech. In my last input last year, I had a conversation with the minister and I've raised a number of issues. She didn't listen, that's a problem. And I think that's important, and I want to do that again. Okay, fine. I'll now and then refer to my speech, but I want to raise a few issues, if you allow me. One is that this budget, unfortunately, and it has now been confirmed by the MEC, that we will continue having overcrowding classes. And that's a serious concern. That's a serious concern. You know when sometimes you must get into the sector to understand. We must liberate our minds at some point. I think we speak about education, and I think to liberate some of you, I think you must follow the lead of the chairperson of the standing committee. So Somlomo, ingxaki leyo. Xa u-MEC esithi kuthi akho nto abanoyenza, ingxaki ke kuthi ngoba somlomo sinabantwana ngakumbi eRhabawe sisandufumana ireport kule veki into yokuba basekhona abantwana bahamba iikilometers ezine uya kwezintlanu ngenyawo kwi-primary school. Now, that's a challenge that we all have.
Mackenzie, please.
During our oversight visit as an NCOP in the Eden district, where an oversight member had to represent the executive and totally forgets what his responsibilities are. Honorable Mackenzie, at that meeting, the Deputy Minister of Education, Swerti, invited the MEC for an engagement to look at this problem and see how this problem can be resolved. So I called on the MEC at my last input to meet with the Deputy MEC to see, because I think this is a critical issue. We all understand it's a policy and the call that we are making, that the MEC must engage seriously with the counterparts to see how we can deal with these issues. Because MEC learners that walk varies from your primary school level up to a high school. Now, if you have a learner which is in grade 3, that must walk for almost 4.5 kilometers to school. It's a challenge, and we must accept it. It does not matter where it lies, where the responsibility lies. The MEC in this province needs to lead that discussion with the national minister to see that we resolve this issue. You know, the second point, Chair, that I want to raise, which is also key, and which is a challenge for us, is really the overcrowding issue. I've mentioned it, but the overcrowding issue is a concern because learners in those classrooms with a ratio of 1 to 60, 1 to 55, and we believe now it might be more because we have now learned that almost 25,000 learners has been enrolled. And I'm saying, Madam Deputy Speaker, that this issue must be addressed as a matter of urgency because we cannot expect that those learners in that condition where they sit on the floor on top of each other can concentrate and still perform as expected. Now, I do not care whether we shift blame to whoever, but I think as an MEC, you should lead those engagements and start dealing with it seriously. I think the answer of, I don't have money, give me money, it's a I don't care issue. I think we must lead those debates and very seriously see how we can deal with these issues.
Order. I will address that. Yes, Honourable Mackenzie, I've been giving you freedom now to say a couple of things, but it's going too far now. Your minister will respond to the debate, so keep your interjections to interjections, not running commentary. Order. Honourable Janki, I'll talk to you as well. Honourable Olivia, speak through the chair, please.
Deputy Speaker, yes, I'm trying. But you know, with the constant...
I will control that. You speak to the chair.
No,
Thank you.
we must liberate our minds sometime. Sekela somlomo, enye ingxaki esihleli nayo, ekakhulu, le oversight committee, standing committee, siye sahambela izikolo klonyaka, na klonyaka pheleyo, endicinga babezine. Kwezi zikolo sibonile ukuba imeko yesikolo, infrastructure yesisikolo ngakumbi indima ye-toilet apho ufumaniseka isikolo eWalesdene sifuneka sisebenzise i-toilet enye for abantwana abayi-50. Sibona ukuba loo nto leyo iyafuna ukuba sizame ukuyijonga siyiqwalasele singu-MEC ngoba abantwana bethu abanawukwazi ukuthi baphile phantsi kwezo meko zento yokuba i-infrastructure yethu ayikho kwinqanaba lento yokuba sizibiza ukuba siyi-best run government in the province, while abantwana bahleli phantsi kwezo meko. Enye ingxaki endicinga uba kwinto esizenzayo masizame ukuzijonga, zingxaki ke ezo Sekela Somlomo. Enye ingxaki esihleli nayo Somlomo into yokuba apha evekini nakwezi veki zingapha ziphelileyo sibone abantwana bematsha besiza apha kule legislature befuna uthetha no MEC bekhalazela imeko abaphila phantsi kwazo ezikolweni. Asikwazi ukuthi ngoba lixesha abantwana bebemere babasesikolweni kodwa bayithatha upon themselves to come and raise these serious concerns with the MEC. And we would like that this MEC really deals with those issues very decisively because it is a challenge. Somlomo is safety abantwana ezikolweni andizuyithetha. I'm sure Honorable Chair no Honorable Cameron uzawuke athethe nangalona. Is safety abantwana ezikolweni. Asikwazi ukuthi sihleli elegislature sinabantwana abasesikolweni singahlali sikhulekile babantwana bethu ba safe esikolweni. Enye yezinto siyabona ke ikhona isixa se30 million esibekiweyo kodwa sisatsho it's just a slight increase from the 25-26 million that we had. Still like I address the issue of safety abantwana. Abantwana bakho safe na kootitshala. And I think this is one issue that we seriously need to look at. Enye into esikhathazayo sekela somlomo indima yengqesho yootitshala. Now when you have 25,000 extra learners, you already had a challenge with teachers in class and it is going to be more overcrowding. We are calling on the department to really look at the issue of extra teachers, particularly in your quintile 1, 2, and 3 schools. I know I've listened to you, but your response, MEC, is I don't have money. And it's a problem. You can't just throw your toys out and say you don't have money. It's not a good excuse. It's for you to say I've engaged with this MEC. This is the arrangement. This is what we need to do, and you report on those issues. You are not an island. Exactly. That's all we are asking.
Not you, Mackenzie.
MEC, the last issue I want to raise, which is for me a serious concern, and this is I welcome. Let me first say I welcome the clean audit of this department, and I think there is this myth that we don't welcome clean audits. We welcome clean audits. And we must welcome it in the sense that at this point and in its current form.
Order. Remember your time unfortunately has expired, but just finish off your last sentence.
In its current form, really deals mainly with compliance. And what we are saying, given the issues that I've raised, it's when we get to compliance issues, we must also at some point, MEC, address us on the issue of performance.
Thank you.
And as long as
that's the end of your speech, member.
This is only on compliance, we will only welcome it for the compliance aspect.
Time has now really expired. I see the Honourable Doug Moore.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. It is indeed an honour to participate in this second reading debate on Vote 5 on education. My colleague and comrade Theo Olivier has raised a number of important issues, and I trust that MEC Schaefer will respond to those. We in the ANC believe that our role in the opposition is not only to raise our voices where we believe that national policies in general and education policy in particular are being undermined. It is not only our role to hold the Premier and the MEC accountable. It is not only our role to point to the continued failures to allocate resources to those schools and communities most in need and unable to rely on extra income generated by parents and a supportive business community. It is also not only our responsibility to serve the constituencies to which we have been deployed. It is our responsibility as the ANC, as the movement that governs this country and is guided by the National Development Plan and the South African Constitution, and which is the official opposition in the Western Cape, to also initiate practical campaigns in support of quality education. It has always been our role as the ANC to try and solve problems, to bring people together around common causes. This is the ANC I know. A movement which mobilizes society to improve the lived reality. As we discuss this vote, it is clear that we all have a responsibility to contribute to a stronger culture of learning and teaching in our schools. This must be done by working with our public representatives, our schools, our communities, and both the provincial as well as the national department. At the end of the day, we are in this together. The future of all of our children, but especially those who attend schools in historically disadvantaged communities on the Cape Flats, the so-called township areas, and in our rural communities, cannot be gambled with. We have to make every effort to support these schools in particular. We require not only a capable state, but also a developmental one. We, from the ANC side, are deeply concerned that there remain 29 high schools in our province who attain matric pass rates of less than 60% in 2015. Of these, 27 are public ordinary schools and 2 are independent schools. And just for those who might not be aware, independent schools receive public funding as well. And they are regarded as underperforming schools. And these are the schools that we are talking about. 5 are from the Cape Winelands. Incinga Zethu Secondary, 51%. Masakeke Combined, 59%. Stellenbosch Secondary, 50%. Vusisizwe Secondary, 53%. Waferen Secondary, 53%. There's one from the Eden Central Karoo, Murraysburg High School at 57%. 4 are from the Metro Central District. In Chukumo, 58, Kulani, 58, Langa, 41, and Silverstream Secondary at 43%. 7 are from the Metro East. Kalesrivier Technical Secondary, 56. Kanyelwetu Secondary, 50. Scottsville Secondary, 57. Simanyene Secondary, 56. Thembelihle High, 59. Kalesrivier Technical, 59. Wallerstein Secondary, 53. And 5 are from Metro North. Masibambisani, 50. New Eisleben, 47. St. Andrews Secondary, 39. Eitzig, 52. Athlone School for the Blind, 35. And 4 are from Metro South. Allo at 51, Woodland Secondary 54, Sitimbela Matiso 53, Nelson Mandela Secondary 55. One is from the West Coast District, Ilingaletu. And the 2 independent schools are Stone Fountain College at 45, and what is very concerning, the Advanced Learning Academy at 9%. At the suggestions, Deputy Speaker, of Mr. Olivier, who is the ANC spokesperson on education in this legislature, and myself, as an alternative member of the Portfolio Committee, we requested the department to brief our committee on these 29 underperforming high schools, as well as those primary schools which are classified in a similar fashion. We also asked for the school improvement plans of each of these schools, and we want to thank this department for providing these to the committee and engaging in a discussion with us. After we received these reports, we convened a meeting of the ANC study group and developed some proposals that were taken to the Western Cape ANC Lekgotla, which convened 2 weeks ago. I am pleased to inform this House that the ANC in the province has endorsed our proposal to embark on a focused campaign in support of all these 29 high schools. Our first objective is to ensure that each one of these schools achieves a matric pass rate of more than 60% in 2016. Our second objective is to ensure that each one of these schools increases the percentage of those who attain a higher education degree pass by 15%. Although we are initiating this campaign as the ANC, it is not intended to exclude any other organization or political party. We will work with everyone who supports these 2 stated objectives. The campaign is not intended to replace the role of the department, the district, or the schools themselves. It is intended to add to and strengthen these efforts in a supportive manner. We are putting in place a program which consists of 5 elements. Firstly, to identify all of our public representatives, MPs, MPLs, and councillors who serve the constituencies where the 29 schools are located and brief them about their role in the campaign, primarily to mobilize parents and our communities in support of this campaign. Secondly, to engage directly with each school principal, SGB, and RCL, and ask for suggestions as to what they believe will assist them in improving their results in 2016. Thirdly, to support those schools who believe that extra tuition for the matrics of 2016 will assist by approaching NGOs, volunteers, and others to assist in arranging additional tutoring. Fourthly, to arrange motivational sessions and study skills training for each matric class at these 29 schools. And finally, fifthly, to assist all schools to establish functioning alumni associations who will attempt, in consultation with these schools, to identify what value they can add. We are serious about our responsibility to provide leadership and also our role as an effective opposition in this province. We ask members in this House to support our campaign. There is no reason that we cannot all get behind this initiative to bring quality education to our schools. We will work with all teacher unions. They are not the enemy. They are our allies. Our teachers deserve our support. We have been very encouraged by the offers of help and support we have already received. While this campaign will focus on high schools, we will be very vigilant about the culture of learning and teaching in our primary schools, which are not performing as they should. We should also take a focused interest in what is happening in every ECD facility in our respective constituencies. Let us take the trouble to check on the qualifications of every teacher and every early childhood practitioner in these facilities and in grade R as well, and make every effort to help them improve their qualifications where needed. We are a very resilient organization as the ANC. We will never fail to put the interests of our people, our province, and our country first. Whether in government or in opposition, our mission remains the transformation of our society into one which is united, non-racial, non-sexist, democratic, and prosperous. And I want to conclude.
Order.
I want to conclude, Deputy Speaker, if I'm allowed to, by saying that the struggle for quality and equal education lies at the heart of achieving this particular objective. As I see, Deputy Speaker, that time is still on my side, I think it is important to point out very clearly that while 30 million rand may have been allocated to the Safer Schools budget, the critical failing in our critique of the DA provincial government when it comes to school safety is the fact that they threw the baby out with the bathwater when they came into power by, in the first instance, stopping the Bambanani school safety program, which community supported and helped keeping things safer. The second thing was that although there had been an integrated school safety plan developed by community safety, social development, education, and cultural affairs and sport, which developed an integrated approach and talked for the need to cooperate with the national government in dealing with the pathology in this province of gangsterism and drugs, which has a particular effect on our schools. This province, under the leadership of the Premier, actually jettisoned and up until today has never integrated that integrated strategy. MEC Plato will tell you, these MECs need to revive that strategy of an integrated approach to school safety, because the number of children that are dying indicates that there is not the political will to actually deal with this particular problem. So we also acknowledge the tremendous work that these officials do. We do believe that as far as possible, we need to take the party politics, the direct hard party politics, out of education, because at the end of the day, we are interested in quality and equal education for every learner. We will criticize when we have to, but what we do expect is that when we, for instance, raise issues which affect learners, as Member Olivier has done in regard to school transport, we don't think that it is actually necessary to have to resort to the Human Rights Commission to raise a denial of the right to learner transport of certain learners. We can sit down and engage. And our criticism, which goes along with our words of advice to our MEC, is to actually spend more time actually speaking to the affected communities who ask for an audience.
Order, Member, your time is now expired. Thank you, Member Dugmore. I see the Honourable Christians.
Deputy Speaker, we as the ACTV support the budget. And Speaker, I want to say, when you look at the budget, you look at a lot of things and you look at where the money is allocated. And I must say it's a pro-poor budget. I'm worried about the after-school program, there's money there. I'm worried about, we're all worried about people not getting nutrition. There's money allocated there. But Speaker, let me just say the following, that we had a comprehensive meeting the other day where the department came and said, what is the program for the 29 schools? They gave it to us. They identified the schools. They said the plans of action, the monitoring plans. That was given. It's a pity Honourable Dugmore was absent and his colleague didn't inform him. So we had a comprehensive, we had that. The other thing is, he was also absent when we visited. When safety is a concern, but we've done, as a committee, we've done the extra mile to have the people in the safe schools to explain to us what is the program, and they gave us a comprehensive program addressing that. So Deputy Speaker, it's a pity he's an alternative member because he's most of the time not there. But Deputy Speaker, I also want to say, because I know my colleague, Member Olivier, and I've also shared the concerns with him, and that is the stuff that we debate in the committee. But you get a budget and you need to spend that budget to address the needs of the province. Now the deep underlining factor, Deputy Speaker, is that we're not we're not saying that the 25,000 children of the Eastern Cape must not come, but our colleagues can speak to their colleagues and say, run a better department that you can keep the kids here. That's putting strain on the budget. So that's the real issues. And another real issue is the political uncertainty that we have. That Rand is taking a dip because of the national ANC. Another problem that put constraints on this budget. Another problem is we must ask the ANC to ask the colleagues not to steal the money, because that is the real problem. The real problem now, you want to look at the consequences, but the real problem is the corruption of the ANC,
Order.
taking taxpayers' money and squandering it. Thank you, Chief.
Time has expired. Minister Schaefer to reply. I see the Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. First of all, Mr. Kibido, Honourable Kibido.
Order, order. Allow the Minister to reply.
I know the ANC is leaderless in every respect right now, but really can they at least control their caucus. I know that Honourable Kibido, I'm very pleased that you're back in the House. We did miss you, and I'm very pleased to know that we are quite sure now that your heart is in the right place. Thank you for also to the Standing Committee members. Your support is appreciated. And I do think we definitely could use more mentoring in this country as a whole, as well as in education. Mr. Honourable Odafir, I'm not quite sure. I see every other spokesperson in your party gets quite a lot of time, but you only get 10 minutes. Is this a faction thing, or do they just not have confidence in your ability as spokesperson? As far as, as far as policy is concerned, I don't think you listened to anything I said in my speech.
Order.
There's one thing that the ANC doesn't seem to have realized in this country, and that is if there isn't money, you cannot spend it. I agree that we need more teachers. I agree that we need more learner transport. I agree that we need more classrooms. Tell me where to get the money. Tell me where to get the money. A child is walking for 4 kilometers here. In KZN, they're walking 15 kilometers. 15 kilometers. So the best thing that you can actually do, it's not national policy for schools either to have the additional non-fee paying schools. That is a Western Cape initiative. The national policy is the iniquitous quintile system, which is forcing us to pay schools that are effectively quintile 2 schools at quintile 5 funding rates, because that's all the funding we get from national government. Now, if you want to do something constructive, challenge that at national government. Then we have got, as far as your quote from Nelson Mandela is concerned, I completely agree with you. It's just a pity the ANC has moved so far away from Mandela's values. I agree that you can congratulate our officials. They are extremely hardworking and do an excellent job. No, I'm also quite hardworking myself. As far as budget is concerned, liberate our minds. The best thing you can do for us is liberate us from Guptastan and this policy uncertainty and games you're playing with our economy. As far as Grabo is concerned, yes, as I say, 4 kilometers is within the policy. I cannot get more learner transport without more money. Simple as that. Right. Then we also have allocated in Grabo 100 additional mobile classrooms, 100 mobile classrooms have been allocated in general. Grabo High School has got 4 and the primary school has got 3. As far as underperforming schools are concerned, I share your concern, and we're doing a lot about it. We have, if I can stop being interrupted, I can tell you what we're doing about it. We have detailed plans in place. Our department is quite capable of implementing those. Our HOD is very much involved in ensuring that they are implemented and assisting those schools to improve. Having said that, any assistance is welcome from whatever quarter, provided they don't disrupt schooling in the process. And I sincerely hope the ANC, thank you for once Honourable Dugmore has had some constructive suggestion, but I do trust that you will, also share it with your colleagues in the 12 schools in KZN, the 6 in Gauteng, the 2 in the Eastern Cape, 1 in the Northern Cape, and 1 in Limpopo, who got 0% pass rate in 2015. As far as safety is concerned, we already have an integrated approach to school safety. We have school safety committees. We work very well with the Department of Community Safety. We also, it's not working because the SAPs are under-resourced. So if you really want to make a contribution, first of all, liberate us from Guptastan, and second of all, get your colleagues at national government to properly resource the SAPs in the Western Cape so that they can actually do their job, which is what they should be doing, not education. No, we're not going to bring back Bamba 9. As far as the HRC is concerned,
Order, order. Allow the Minister to respond, please. Order.
thank you very much. I think that's pretty much covers everything, Mr. Speaker. It's quite clear. I am not happy with not having more teachers. I'm not happy with overcrowded classrooms. But as long as we continue to have people, the ANC playing games with our economy, as long as the rand keeps falling, we're going to be able to buy less and less and less every year. So please deal with that issue, and you will save us all a lot of trouble. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes the debate on this vote. We will allow